Hello ladies, I'm Lydia from Mrs. Sherman's Home Living blog. I don't have comments on my YouTube channel because I'd like you to go over to my blog and participate in the comments there. I'd like to thank anyone who is contributing and adding to my PayPal. I appreciate it so much. It's very helpful. And I also appreciate so many of you that have been with me for so long on my blog. I think it's been 15 years, maybe longer. And so today my subject is how to keep a stable mind in your homemaking. And my purpose of this blog and my videos is to present Titus 2 and other articles directed at women in the Lord's church in with a perspective of reason and truth, instead of getting carried away with something. Now, this idea came to me when we were reading in our latest Bible class about the Apostle Paul in 1 Corinthians, I believe, 14. I'll look that up and put it on my blog. When the Apostle Paul was explaining to the members of the church in Corinth on one of his in one of his letters that before they became Christians, they were heathens, pagans, carried away. They were not being motivated by truth or reason. They were carried away. And I looked that up in different languages to find out if I could expound upon it more. To be carried away by something is when you're not directed by reason or truth, you're directed by an idea because it sounds good and it appeals to your surface emotions. And so I wanted to warn ladies against that. Anytime you're making a major change in your life, whether it is to be a better housekeeper or whether you're coming home from work and you want to stay home and make that your life, to be careful to look at it carefully. Any changes in your life, look at it carefully and make sure, look around and see if through history, through and biblically, how it works, how other people have done it. It might help. I mean, we're not going to be carried away by what other people do, but at the same time, it's important that you not follow some wacky idea, and you have to change your the way your children think too. One of the things that I noticed we had to teach our children was don't look at something from a distance and then head straight for it. Think about the obstacles on the way. Think about whether or not you're going to fall. Think about if there's something in the way. Think about whether it's raining or it's cold. Think about whether you should be doing this, and don't just head straight for something, but think about the pattern of what's going to accomplish it. So I want to make this the theme of my blog and my videos is to approach things with reason and truth instead of getting carried away. And when a person is carried away with something, they will fizzle out pretty quickly. But if you're guided by reason and truth, then all your life you can keep going on the same path without getting discouraged. So today I also want to talk about how to keep your mind stable in physical ways and in spiritual ways. And of course, we all know that the best thing to do is go start your day out with prayer. This is so important. And I know that some of the wacky ideas people get is that we don't need to pray because God already knows everything. He knows what you need. Well, that'd be like living with a father who was your father, but you never asked him for anything. You never discussed anything with him, and you never communicated with, because he's your father. He already knows what you need. But your father wants relationships in his home. He doesn't want people just to be passive. So we need to go to our Father in prayer. And the other thing is to be guided by truth. Now it's so nice because as you're doing your housework, you can take your little phone or your iPad around and find a recording online of parts of Scripture being read. And I think that this is so valuable, and it is also a message that is not so, won't give you such a upheaval in your life, it's usually very stabilizing to hear that sort of thing. And there are other messages you can listen to also online that will keep you company while you work. Now, those of you that have children at home, it always was enjoyable to me to have one of my children come and read something to me from a book or a magazine that I liked, and I would be doing things that they couldn't do because they weren't able to, because of their size or something like that. But if they could read to me, that was nice. So then the other thing that I wanted to make sure that I broadcast to you today is how important your own appearance will be to you, because when you take care of yourself before you start your work, you also are giving a message to yourself of your worth. And I think too many times there are people that feel that you don't have worth if you don't have some other kind of job. So being home, uh, you need to portray your worth to yourself, especially by getting yourself dressed up for the day. And then today I wanted to also, while I'm thinking of it, I don't have a script, so when something comes into my mind, I'll just have to say it. But today I'm wearing an exclusive piece of jewelry. It's a little, it's on a stretchy string, and it's a little clay rose with leaves on it that one of my grandchildren made for me. And you know, I'd rather wear this, and I'd rather wear a chain of daisies than quote real jewelry. This is really special to me because it's one of a kind. It was handmade by one artisan, and it was made for me. And I feel like a queen when I wear her jewelry, because one day she made me some of these to match every dress I had, and every homemade dress I had in my closet. And it's a lot of fun to get out her. She'll string pony beads. She'll string some of the tri beads and all other kinds to go with my clothes. And I love wearing them. And my mother-in-law was the same way. My daughter used to make her that kind of jewelry, and she'd match them up to her dresses and wear them very proudly to her ladies' Bible class and anywhere else. So, and then another thing that I think helps for stability of mind is to be organized. And if you will not look at it as a whole, oh my goodness, look at this. This whole house needs organized. You'll look at it as a section, and every day organize something. And as I sit here in this tiny little room, I see there's a shelf full of stuff that I need to get down and organize, but I'm not thinking of the rest of the house. I'm just thinking of this part. And it's amazing how one little thing that you organize, whether it's the little drawer under your desk here, just one little thing, you organize it. Just sit here and move it around, organize, take some unneeded things out of it. What it does to your mind, how it stabilizes your mind. The other thing that I discovered was how much better I felt mentally, emotionally, when I drank water. Now, if you have a hard time drinking water, it's not interesting to you, you don't enjoy it, and whatever, I would say put it in a special small glass. And I have this little glass here that I have a little set of these, and I don't know, I think the water tastes better in them. And I add a little slice of lime or lemon. And I looked at this. On the bottom it says made in France. Now around our house we're silly sometimes, and whenever we see on the bottom of a dish or any product we've got in our home and it says where it's made, one of us will say, well, I've never been to France, but I've been to Oklahoma. It's just an old saying based on an old silly song that we learned in the 50s. And so, nope, I've never been to France, but I've been to Oklahoma, and I've been here. Um, so, and then another thing is that can destabilize your mind is that there's always someone who intends to destabilize you, accuse you of something, criticize you for something, demoralize you in some way, or try to reinvent your personality, try to run you so that you lose your direction, try to distract you in another direction. I've seen this happen to some ladies, and they find it hard to pull themselves back up out of that demoralizing slump that it gives them. So you have to have a focus, and you have to keep your eye on that focus, so that no matter what anyone says, no matter what kind of arrows they throw at you, you keep this focus. And I remember an illustration I heard once in a sermon where this man was explaining how at an athletic event, let's say it's a race, that the athletes keep their mind and their eye on the prize, on the goal. They're not too busy watching each other as they are watching that prize. But at the same time, he brought up something else that was quite interesting that I hadn't really thought of, and that was the audience. The audience is watching the race. They're watching the athletes, and they're watching the goal. They're not looking around at each other all that much. So as a homemaker, we're not trying to outdo an opponent, and we're not trying to race anybody, but there is the opponent of the mind that you have to pay attention to. And remember, there is a scripture that says that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of a sound mind. And so if you can think of this soundness, this goal that you're headed for, you still have to do things, you still have to do everything. And this could begin in childhood, where as a child you might have felt that you're discouraged because someone said something, like you were trying to paint a picture and somebody says, "You're not a very good artist." And some kids would throw down their brush and just march off and, let that be the final decision. But I always remembered one time years ago, we had a guest in our home, and his family was a very rude family, and someone in that family said to me, I never did like you, and you're not a very nice person, and you're not pretty either. So I remembered this movie I had seen years ago called Gigi, and I remember when Gaston was so shocked when she had grown up and was wearing this dress with the high collar and all the lace and everything, and he said he didn't approve, and he said, "You look terrible," or something. And she was so confident, she just went and looked in the mirror, and she said, "In all the things that I've heard about you or read about you in the papers, I've never known for you to be an expert on beauty," or something like that. And so I sort of quipped back that sort of thing to these people, and just smiled and kept on going. Because if you tend to be debilitated by anything, you're never going to get up off the ground, and you're never going to have a nice house and a clean house and be organized and be happy at home. So one more thing I want to say about this is that my goal, now it could be different from yours, my goal and my happiness is centered in doing my best. If I can do my best, and don't let others waylay me, then I'm happy and I can get something done. Make my house a nice place to live, a better place to live, and anywhere you live, to make it better than when you got there. So anyway, if you have any opinions on this, I would love to hear from you. Please go to my blog and leave a comment. And thank you very much for coming to visit, and we'll see you next time. Bye.